Geronimo.
There we go. Very well done. That's a good quote. I don't know when he says it. I imagine once or twice, at the very least.
When doesn't he say it, fuck's sake? Know what I mean?
Very true. Just before we get into things, everybody, I'm recording on a slightly different setup this week, so if there's a bit of a wibbly, interference-y type noise, I can only apologise. I expect you to furiously tweet at me.
Yeah. Wibbly wobbly,
so
timey wimey.
Yes, it's a wibbly wobbly. Yes, it's all part of the show, actually.
Yeah.
The wibbly wobbly, timey wimey noise. I've added it in post.
Exactly.
On purpose.
Yeah. Of course. We are talking about season 5 of Doctor Who, and the showrunner for this season was Stephen Moffat, and it is starring Matt Smith, Karen Gillan, Arthur Darvill, Alex Kingston, and a lot of other people. Too many to go through.
A whole bunch of other people. Yeah, loads of other people.
Yeah.
So many. Frankly, a dangerous amount of people.
Pretty much. Do you have an opening statement?
Yes, I do have an opening statement. Bear with me. While I like this season, on the outermost layer, it is the season when I started worrying about Doctor Who. And that's true. It is the season I started worrying about Doctor Who. It was because obviously David Tennant's final season is such a favourite of mine. And also, it's so sort of, I don't know if theatrical is the right word, but everybody's doing a lot of acting. The scripts are all very good. Everybody clearly gives a shit. But this is the start of the trend of, it's something that, this is a phrase I'm going to borrow from my dad. Everybody runs down a corridor every week sort of framework for Doctor Who. That's what this season feels like, and that's, I'm just going to quickly have a look at the episode list. Yeah, it is. Everybody keeps running down corridors. Time of the Angels, they run down loads of corridors. Vampires of Venice, that's pretty much all corridor.
Yeah.
The Hungry Earth, there's underground corridors.
Oh yeah, corridors.
Yeah, exactly. All corridors. It's a corridor-heavy season of Doctor Who.
It's really big corridors.
So I would say that I'm not a fan of the relentless use of corridors. I think it belies a deeper narrative issue. And this is a very long opening statement. So I'll let you have a go.
Fantastic. A dark fairy tale that is a good start to a very mixed tenure. Brilliant stories, great Doctor with, I'm sad to say, a dog shit companion.
Ooh, that's a hot. Well, it's not that hot a take. She's not a. Okay, right. Okay. I'm not sure how to launch into a conversation about companions.
Yeah.
So you don't like Amy Pond then? I'm presuming from your comment you made just now.
No, I don't.
Okay.
And
Would you please explain that at great length?
Yeah. So this show, specifically the new series, seems to have a problem with its female characters, and them behaving like arseholes is somehow framed in a way that's meant to be empowering. Just like Rose, who treated Mickey like shit. We have Amy, who runs away with a stranger the night before her wedding, and throughout the it's throughout the entire time she's there, she flirts with the Doctor. I would go as far as to say sexually assaults the Doctor this season, and just continuously shows very little regard for Rory's feelings and his needs. And it's played off as a joke, and it's funny, and because Rory's, I don't know what archetype he's meant to represent, but it's written in mind with it to be, oh my god, wow, she's so quirky. And then we get to my least favourite episode of Doctor Who, which isn't in this season, but it culminates the entire premise of why Amy is a really bad companion. And it's in Asylum of the Daleks.
Yes, that isn't a very good episode.
Yeah. So Stephen Moffat has this thing where female characters will often slap male characters. River Song does it. Amy does it multiple times. And it's always played in a sort of humorous sort of way. I don't find it that funny, because other way about, it's really fucking gross and weird, so why should it be a two? Yeah, so Amy and Rory divorce for no reason, split up. There isn't any sort of lead up to it the previous season, and then she reveals it's because Rory has always wanted kids, and Amy,
Okay.
for some reason, because of her time at Demon's Run, can't have kids. So Amy, in her infinite wisdom, kicked Rory out because she couldn't handle the fact that he wanted something that she couldn't give her. Never mind the fact they could have adopted or anything like that. There's a multiple things that they could have done, but no, that's what happened. And Rory then rightly says, in our relationship, I think I love you more than you love me, and it will save both of our lives because I'm trying to help you. And she slaps him again. It's not meant to be funny.
Actually, that's a good... Now that I think about it, I think I love you more than you love me. And to then get smacked. It kind of proves his point in a strange way.
Yeah, so it's not played for jokes. There's no, it's a complete and utter hard slap to the face. And I think it's absolutely disgusting. And it just seems to be indicative of what I think you don't really realise when you're watching a show about a time-travelling alien. It just seems like a fucking abusive relationship, to be honest.
It's a bit shit, isn't it? Yeah.
You know, it's like... And this is like... This is a problem I have. It's like... Being an arsehole is somehow funny to Stephen Moffat. And it would be if the joke was on the people who are arseholes, but it isn't. You know, like there's a sitcom called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and all those characters are fucking horrible, but the joke is always on them, and it's look how terrible these people are, rather than these are terrible people, but they're likable because they have witty dialogue. I mean, it's like it's not even remotely the same thing. So she just sours as the seasons go on. You know.
No, I completely know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, I think it is a problem consistent with Stephen Moffat, is that he struggles to write a female character that's someone who's a good person.
Yeah.
And while I don't think a character needs to be a good person to be a good character, I do think there are certain sort of basic things we can all agree on as sort of vaguely bad or vaguely good moral actions. Maybe murdering someone in the middle of the blue isn't good.
Yeah.
Maybe smacking your husband isn't good.
Yeah.
Maybe some of these things aren't morally good actions.
Yeah.
And I do think it's indicative of either a poor writing ability or some kind of horrible ingrained belief in Stephen Moffat that I can't think of a single female character he's written who I would class as a good person.
Yeah.
Mary lies to John for years and years and years in Sherlock. Molly Hooper in Sherlock. Actually, I can't think of anything wrong with her. She was all right, wasn't she? Was she terrible in any particular way? Or have I immediately murdered my own theory?
Do you know what I think? I think the problem is that Stephen Moffat seems to think that people who behave in morally neutral ways are weak, and all the attention is paid to the complicated, big-haired genius arsehole who has very little regard for social norms, people's feelings, and or convention. You know, that seems to be his pattern, and it's just like like the Doctor in Stephen Moffat's tenure just gets saddled with these absolutely horrible people for companions. Like it's Clara's defining character trait is being a control freak. That's literally what they say.
Yeah, it sort of is.
Like, why is that maybe have a companion like I don't know, Martha or Donna, who actually rein in the Doctor a little bit and make him question himself in some ways, rather than it just being a battle between two incredibly egotistical people. You know,
right.
So I don't know, but it just sours the entire show.
I really don't like that Amy is consistently quite cruel to Rory. It feels not only is it just sort of cruelness for the sake of, oh, look, it's funny to be cruel, it's also just a bit lazy. It feels like they make the same joke again and again, which is something I obviously don't like. Yeah. It does obviously rub me up the wrong way that on the night before her wedding, Amy runs away with little to no regard for her fiancé.
Yeah.
And while there is, I suppose, an argument to be made from the concept that she's sort of seduced by the Doctor's offer in a strange way of you can do anything, go anywhere, which is an incredible offer. Surely you'd think the night before your wedding you'd be like, oh my god, I'm getting married tomorrow, that's amazing. I don't know. I would argue it belies a set of moral choices in her mind that are inherently a bit too far the other way.
See if they did all that, but they portrayed it in a way where this is clearly a toxic relationship that isn't going to end well for anyone, I'd be completely fine with it. I wouldn't have any problem with it whatsoever. But the problem is that when Rory rightly gets upset about it, it's, you know, oh, shut up, Rory, you stupid fucker. Like, it's just like his feelings are completely disregarded.
Yeah, ignored and just,
it's like,
shut up, Rory, you're all right.
A great example of it is in Better Call Saul, the relationship between Kim and Jimmy. Like, on the surface, they seem to have like a good relationship because they're very close and they help each other, but they both have an unhealthy addiction to like conning people and duping people, and you know for a fact that it's while they may be good for each other in some respects, it's not a good trajectory that they're on. And if the show did that, then I wouldn't have any problem with it whatsoever. But it just seems like nope, shut up, I don't care that I left you.
Yeah, it did sort of and it did frustrate me a bit as well. Well, in later seasons anyway, it frustrates me that like you say, that unhealthy dynamic is never really acknowledged. In like the Doctor at no point questions his behaviour upon looking at his companions, and he keeps sort of like there's a point in just before the Ponds get transported back to 1930 New York, which of course they do, but there's a part there where I remember thinking at the time, well, he's trying to wean them off him, essentially, which is he knows that they're sort of addicted to him, and that's such an unhealthy thing to know about your friends, essentially, that it's just sort of fucked. Yeah. And I just don't like it at all.
I mean, I think she makes the right decision to go with the man she loves, you know, and the Doctor who has enabled and created this unhealthy relationship by visiting a child, fucking off, traumatizing her, and then coming back and uprooting her life in some respects. Is like, no, just come back to the TARDIS, we'll figure it out. Obviously knowing that he can't figure it out, otherwise he would have done it, you know. But yeah, so that's my biggest gripe with Stephen Moffat's season and tenure as a whole.
No, me too, yeah. So, what do we think of the Time of Angels and Flesh and Stone then, Dan? I know the Weeping Angels are a villain you love very much, and I think that just expands on that. I think it brings something happy and joyous to the canon of the Weeping Angels.
Okay, so first episode I quite liked. It made the angels a bit more sinister. The fact that they can kill you, snap your neck, and strip things from you to have a voice because they can't speak. That's interesting. That's a good expansion on a villain that we've, you know. The image of an angel thing, I don't know. I think it's just taking it a little bit too far, I guess. It seems being needlessly more complicated than it needs to be. Because we only saw them in one episode, and they made such a huge, you know, see when the Daleks were first introduced, like, there wasn't, oh, by the way, Daleks can also, you know, sneak into your grand's house and blow it up. There wasn't any huge things that we didn't already know. Subtle changes were made. Oh, this time they can go on land rather than just on metal. It's like, that's interesting. It's a bit of a development, and the cerebral cortex thing is interesting. But then saying, if you look at an angel through the eyes, then another angel will spring from that angel, go into your eyeballs and try and turn off your brain. It's like, come on, it's a bit much, innit? It's a bit much, Stephen.
Yeah. I think it's the thing is, there's a lot of ways he could have explained it as on the same level, which is what really annoys me watching those episodes back, because it's sort of often implied the angels are sort of extra dimensional beings or something like that, and they're sort of the reason you see them as a statue is because they are suddenly forced through a quirk of their biology or something.
Yeah.
They are suddenly forced to be stone because once observed, they cannot
Yes.
be this extra-dimensional angel creature. Okay, that makes perfect sense within the world of sci-fi and
Yep.
Doctor Who. That's perfectly ridiculous. But then they never make any attempt to go over that any more times and explain, okay, and because they are extra-dimensional beings, they also have this ability to be telepathic or to do X, Y, Z,
Yeah.
or to have this advanced ability in some way that, I mean, I've thought about it for literally about 15 seconds, but do you see what I
Yeah.
mean? They could have expanded on it in that direction. It would have
Yeah.
made sense. Because that's the reason the Daleks' sort of slow changes make
Yeah.
sense, is because if you did create in your lifetime a little metal tank, you get, okay, so we've started off and it can only walk on metal floors. Okay, so the next step is to make it walk
Yeah.
anywhere. And the next step after that is to probably give it a bigger gun. And the next step after that is maybe to make it
Yeah.
fly. Do you see what I mean? Those are the evolutions that you would go through as Davros,
Absolutely.
I suppose. But there is no evidence of any kind of evolutionary quirk or any kind of engineering quirk from the Angels or Division, who apparently had a hand in the Angels somehow.
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you
Jesus.
see what I mean? It's just a bit odd and stressful. Which
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And to go even further with that, the second episode, where the crack is somehow involved now because the Weeping Angel, literally
Yes.
hundreds of Weeping Angels on their own wasn't enough to up the stakes. So Amy has this thing where she can't open her eyes, otherwise the angel will continue the countdown and she will be killed by the angel in her mind, right? So the Doctor then says, okay, Amy, we're at the other end of the big forest. You need to walk like you can see. Okay? So Amy tries that, and the lights go out, lights come back on, and there's about 5 angels around her, right? Okay, so the first thing I have with that, it was always known that it was a biological imperative that the angels could not move if they're being seen by anyone. Amy is closing her eyes. So how the fuck are the angels stone?
Yeah. Now, that's you are completely correct. And the thing that annoys me about that is they could have, in that book, it could have been, oh my god, it's not being seen, it's being observed.
Yeah.
And it could have been, okay, Amy's flashing a camera around, and she's like trying to wave a camera around, not knowing where the angels are. Sometimes they're gaining on us, sometimes they're not. You could even have it be sort of Blair Witch Project type thing. The forest is dark, and she's flashing around a camera with a light on it. So you're just sort of seeing the angels get closer and closer. She doesn't know where they are, and the sort of the tension as the viewer is that you can see they're getting closer,
Exactly.
and she can't. That's really tense. I tell you what, should we just rewrite all of Doctor Who? That sounds
we just
really
should.
good.
I've heard multiple arguments to this, right? I've heard that the reason that the angels can't move is because there are other angels around, right? And they can see each other. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a fair point. But then, but then, the angels move when they think, wait a minute, she can't fucking see us. And not only do they move,
Wait a minute.
not only do they fucking move,
These Glaswegian angels. They run up to her, headbutt her. Amy! You fuck! I thought you could
eyes are
see!
fucking closing.
They got a can of iron brew
Fucking
in one hand.
Bottles are
Furious. How dare you!
okay. So not only do they move, right, but they're still stone when they move, which is like the biggest
that drives- I hate
disappointment.
that
So
so
the
much.
angels aren't some creepy unknown entity that just becomes stone when they're seen. They are actual statues that just move like that is so fucking dumb. It just takes the mystery right out of them. And just to go back, to go back, it's like, well, if other angels can see them, then how can they move anyway? Do you know what I mean? So,
Ever. How can they ever move?
and I was thinking about Blink as well when I rewatched this. I was like, wait a minute, the angel's stuck in the basement. All they can do is like, wait for the light bulb to go out, and then they'll be fine. So, so he tricked them. The Doctor tricked them.
Oh, that's true, actually. Yeah, the bulb... But light bulbs
Yeah.
don't last forever. Eventually the metal will melt, or the circuit will
Yeah.
break, or something. But the angels will last forever. That's their entire function.
Maybe the
How long? Yeah, because they said the Applans had been... Yeah, because they said the angels had been in that cave for like 10,000 years or whatever. Something will come for them. Something... The light bulb will break.
I mean...
Huh.
I think maybe the Doctor hired like a permanent electrician for that building, and he's just there
maybe
every day getting a good salary just fixing that one light bulb. I don't know, but yeah, maybe.
Perhaps he is. Who knows? I'm just having another quick look through the episode list now because I think I'm enjoying this sort of brief fury. I quite liked Amy's choice because I love Toby Jones.
I like the Dream Lord. He was a good villain.
Yes, he was a good villain. I didn't like that it was like pollen. Oh,
yeah.
It's just some pollen in the time rotor. So it was all a hallucination. So you could say that the audience sort of wasted their time.
Yeah.
You could say that
it
none
was
of that
literally
really
all a
happened,
dream,
and there was never any actual peril. Literally all a dream. Oh, okay. Well, that's frustrating. Can we have Toby Jones back in a better role? No. Oh, okay. Right. That's brilliant.
Isn't that like rule one of storytelling? Like, never create a really good story and then say, "Yeah, it was all a dream." Didn't we learn that from Lost? Isn't that like? Oh man.
Have you ever heard what happened with Lost? There was the writers' strike, so like people that weren't writers had to just take over and finish it.
I think.
Which is certainly
I
one
think
way
that's
to do
why
it.
Breaking Bad's first season only had 7 episodes, because and they just went, no, we'll end it here because I don't want anyone who isn't a writer to try and finish our first season.
Sort of makes sense, I've got to say. What did we think of The Hungry Earth and Cold Blood with the Silurians?
I liked it. I did like it.
I liked it too. Yep. I love the lizard people, the Silurians. They're great. I love their sort of it's sort of semi-technology. Yep. It's like I don't know quite how to describe it. You can sort of see how they are using sort of guns and stuff like that and equipment that you're just like, yeah, well, I can see how that would have evolved. It's sort of a alternate timeline type thing. If they'd never have died out, if they'd never have hibernated,
penned by Chris Chibnall, I'll say. So fantastic, Chris. You should be making more episodes like that. Very, just really relatable. You've got these complicated feelings on both sides. You've got the Silurians who have been driven underground and have woken up and want to reclaim what they think is theirs, but there's already human beings who have populated the planet. You've got this mother who is extremely worried for her child and ends up killing the hostage. Like, that is like... It's not out of character. It makes sense, and you can imagine what what anyone would do if their child was like taken by anyone, let alone lizard people. So it's a really good episode, and I like the fact that it fails because we're not perfect. We can't even agree with members of our own species, let alone a completely other different type of life form, so how are we meant to, it's really really...
No, yeah, you're right. It's like that episode of Star Trek Next Generation, where somehow, I forget the exact circumstances of this, but they get Mark Twain onto the Enterprise. Somehow, the actual Mark Twain, not like a robot or a hologram, the actual guy. And he's sort of like, so you're telling me that, like, in all these centuries of development from my time to your time, there's no racism, there's no persecution, there's none of these things, there's no inherent XYZ. And Troy just goes, no, everybody just sort of gets on with it. Everybody's quite nice, really. And he goes, wow, well, that sounds good. And it's like, it's a very sort of, because the episode will have come out in sort of the early 2000s, and I remember thinking at the time, there's a very on-the-nose way to say, like, yeah, look, don't be racist. Yeah, obviously, but it just tickled me at the time. Back to Doctor Who, because I do love the Silurians, they're great. Vincent and the Doctor, I've just noticed, which obviously is a spectacular episode, one of the greats for Doctor Who. Out of this series, every episode on IMDb has about 6,000 ratings. The Big Bang has 7,000, and they're all sort of 8, 7, 8.2, 7, 8.6. Vincent and the Doctor has 10,000 ratings and is
Yes.
9.3 stars. Isn't that... Well, out of 10. I feel like I should clarify. It's not 9.3 out of a million. But yeah, it's a
Really
brilliant,
good.
brilliant episode. Which I'm astounded that I haven't seen the actor that plays Vincent in anything else.
Yeah. No, he is. He's absolutely fantastic.
Tony Curran. Let's see what else he's done. There's a picture of Bryan Cranston. I don't think that's Tony Curran. He did a film called Caliber, a film called Deadwood the Movie, Outlaw King, Ray Donovan. I have not
Outlaw
seen any
King,
of these things, I'm afraid.
That's about Robert the Bruce, played by Chris Pine. Less said about that.
Cool.
Better.
Not very good.
I think it's historically accurate. I'm not entirely sure about Chris's Scottish accent. But that, like, as a Scottish person, that's the first thing you go for. You know, you that's all you look at. That's like, everyone loves Braveheart, even though it is historically dog shit and made by the eternal enemy of life, Mel Gibson. But yeah, it's freedom. You know, that's all people think about when they watch it. But yeah, I would like to see that guy in more things because he was incredibly good.
Oh god, yeah, definitely. And Bill Nye,
yeah,
just at the end, just for his brief cameo, absolutely stunning. But then I don't think he's ever turned in a bad performance ever.
No,
he's just really good. Yeah. And we do love a bit of James Corden, don't we, Dan? We love James Corden. He's great. He seems like such a nice guy as well, doesn't he? Such a kind, generous person on all of his real life adventures and talk shows.
I heard that Rob Brydon said some things to him and said, you need to realise that your behaviour affects other people. I heard that he actually said that to James Corden. So, I mean,
wow.
I really like Rob Brydon, unless it turns out... so he did. That was a while ago, wasn't it?
A long time ago, yeah, but it was really good.
You know, if Rob Brydon's telling you to knock it off, then maybe you should take a hint, I guess. But that episode's okay.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. It's funny to watch the Doctor interact socially.
Okay, so let's talk about the season finale. We've got the Pandorica opens and the Big Bang 2, or is it called the Big Bang? I'm not entirely sure. It's called the Big Bang. Okay, what do we think of them? Do we love them? Do we hate them?
Yep.
Do we feel ambivalent towards them? What's the thinking?
I like the Pandorica opens because the sort of side characters that we've seen throughout the entire season come back in various ways. So the cracks that we see at the end of every episode actually have a through line that actually has a payoff, which is nice, you know, rather than when I first watched it, I was just worried, we're just going to see cracks everywhere and it's not going to ever come up again. But no, we got to see them again.
We did get to see them again, but
and,
it sort of frustrated me that it didn't really make much sense in a strange way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it started with Vincent van Gogh, who had created a painting of the TARDIS exploding, and then it went to the Cabinet War Rooms, and then it went to fucking
Liz 10?
the Queen, Liz 10, and then that's when River Song got it, and then she went back to when the Romans invaded Britain, and Stonehenge was there, and that's where the Pandorica is, which is okay,
sort of
I guess.
Some sense.
For
I quite liked it's a bit of a throwaway line, but I quite like it whenever I see it. When they're sort of touching Stonehenge, and it's like, why is it old? It was always old. It's really, really fucking old. I quite liked that. That was a nice touch.
Absolutely. I take issue with Amy's premise of her old school project, Invasion of the Hot Italians.
I'm not entirely sure what the academic merit of that project is.
Because
I mean, I suppose if you're studying the Romans, it doesn't matter what you call the project, as long as the actual content of the paper is there was Julius Caesar and he did stuff, and also there was this other bloke.
I'm kind of confused as to what she thought Rome was, because Rome basically encompassed the known world at that point, and they didn't differentiate it between Italians and Germanic. It's like if you were in Rome, if you were in the Roman Empire,
Yeah,
you're
it's,
a Roman.
Yeah,
You're a
it's
Roman
something that's a bit
citizen.
hard for us to grasp nowadays. But yeah, it's like one of my favourite facts about history is that Italy didn't really exist until like the 20s, or something unbelievably modern.
Yeah.
Because it was essentially just a big country full of city-states. And so for it to say Rome
Yeah.
means Rome the city-state, not Rome the city. And then Rome the city-state just took over everything it could reach, really, which is terrifying and amazing. But yeah, it's like a hard thing for us to think about because it's. Can you really imagine Italy sort of taking Germany and then Spain, Portugal and France and what's on the other side of Germany, sort of Poland and those other countries? Can you imagine that? Really?
Yeah.
No, I certainly can't.
No.
I
mean, it was really interesting because, I mean, despite the fact that Rome's tactic was to conquer a tribe and then obliterate its identity, which is a horrible fucking thing to do. I'm not making any excuses, but skin color in the Roman Empire was much more like eye color. You know, like it wasn't paid as much attention to, like, at all. So to just say it was Italy that did it, it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's it does get me something I always find quite interesting about the Roman Empire is you're either in or you're out. But beyond that, there's not much distinction. If you're out, it doesn't matter whether you're from
everyone was
X, Y,
a
Z.
citizen.
If you're in, you're a Roman. Let's have no more of it, sort of thing.
Yeah, you're either a Roman or a barbarian. That's which is
and
horrible,
while erasing
but,
someone's cultural identity when they join your civilization isn't an objectively good thing, it's certainly an interesting thing to look back on and to think that it's sort of a way that they sort of dominated their sense of individuality by saying, no, we are Rome. Rome is everything, sort of thing. It's interesting to have seen that civilization doing stuff.
Yeah. If you want to learn a bit more about Rome in a fun but educational way, play Fallout New Vegas.
You could play that if you want.
Yeah. Or you could open my textbook, you lazy fucker. But yeah. So
you lazy fuck.
Another thing, witty dialogue again. So when the Doctor realizes that all of these monsters that everyone has, every time that he's tried to save the Earth, every single villain compounds on Stonehenge, and the Doctor says, "We need the greatest military apparatus in the history of the universe." Who? The Daleks? No, the Romans. It's like, oh, well, against the Daleks.
At the end of the day, the Romans were essentially just hundreds and hundreds of people, sure, but they did just have swords.
Yeah.
and a ballista every now and then, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on. There's not even any... I mean, I get what they're trying... I get, it's funny and all that. Do they even use the Romans?
They don't know, because the Romans go to sleep halfway through.
Yeah, and they turn out to be Autons.
The greatest historical fighting force. The Autons. Yeah. The thing is, the reason the Roman army was sort of like powerful and all the rest of it is because there was so many of them. The reason that they sort of had this sort of military dominance is they would take over an area, erase the cultural identity, Romify it, and put in baths and colosseums and all the rest of it, and then physically remove the people that used to live there and take them anywhere else in the empire. And then to get to the next town over, and the next town beyond that, and the next town beyond that, they would get people from the other side of the empire and say, right, you, 256 people, you're a new legion, go and get in that village. And then if that legion all died, they'd say, right, now you 256 people. They just kept bringing new legions and pushing them forward and forward and forward into the sort of front lines of the empire. That's what made the army sort of military powerful, was the fact that compared to sort of fairly disunited tribespeople of ancient Europe, the Roman army was literally endless compared to a dozen people that lived in a village. But that's literally the opposite of what the Doctor has. He has, 30 Romans that turn out to be plastic? So it's not really...
Yeah, exactly.
He sort of I know it's a joke, and I know I'm overanalyzing it, and I'm being a bit of a twat, but he sort of missed the point, which it rubbed me up a bit the wrong way, but so I'm glad I got it off my chest. But on the same level, I'm aware I'm being a bit of a dickhead.
Um, no. No, you're right. You're right. No, you're right. You're. No, God. So the conclusion of this season involves Amy, sort of imagining people back, which is wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. So Rory gets erased from existence.
He does.
And somehow her love for... How does the Doctor remember him?
The Doctor remember Rory? Oh, because he's a time traveller, so we've used time in a non-linear, different way, or he's got Ultron energy
Come on.
or something. I don't know.
Amy's a time traveller.
Yeah, true. But the Doctor's a Time Lord. Maybe he's got like 5 brains. I don't know.
Of course. That makes... Yeah, sure. Okay.
I defy you to tell me that the Doctor does not have 5 brains.
He doesn't have 5 brains. He has... I think he has, like, 2 brains.
He just squished the one that was already in there down and put another one on top like a hat.
No, I think he does. It's a binary vascular system.
Oh, okay, yeah, because he's got 2 hearts, I suppose.
He's got 2 hearts.
And one of the hearts is a brain.
And
Therefore.
And Missy said something about 3 for my brainstem.
So she got 3 brains.
She got 3 brains. I've fucking no idea, man.
Well, the Doctor could have 3 brains. That's how we remembered. I think we're coming up on time now, and we've managed to end the series. So, is there anything else you want to mention before we finish the episode?
Yeah, Victor of the Daleks was dog shit. How was it a victory? They made 5 Power Rangers and then fucked off. Like, that is
true.
God.
I think it's... I mean, giving it a bit of credit, I suppose the thing is that it's like... it shows their resilience. They will always come back. There will always be more of them, sort of thing. I suppose that's probably what they're going for. It also showed the sort of inherent racism of the Daleks. You are genetically impure, and they got destroyed because of it. But then we do see the Power Ranger Daleks and the sort of brass Daleks coexisting in Asylum of the Daleks and all over the shop, really. So, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the original Dalek episode that came back, that singular Dalek killed 200 people, and these supposedly the master race of Daleks killed about 5 people, if that. And
also, I didn't quite understand that it was they're like meant to be the original Daleks down to the genetic code or whatever. That's what the progenitor is. So. When and why did the Daleks shrink? What's the difference? Because it's still going to be a little gross tentacly squid guy in there. Do you know what I mean? Who's to say what the original starting point of the Daleks was? Is it that episode that we watched for Greatest Doctor Who episode of all time? Is it those Daleks?
Maybe.
I don't think so. Maybe.
I mean, I wish it was like, because they come out fully formed in their armour and their tanks. I wish it was like the squid things came out and then they had to like create their own thing. Kind of like a bit like Resolution, where they have to like be, do you know what? I think that would have been a great way to kill off Davros, because I think Davros just needs to die now. I think like if he gave his last energy to these new... And also, imagine there were only 5 Daleks in existence, but they were so powerful that killing one of them was like a huge deal. Like, you could have them for like years, and every 2 years or something you kill one of them, and maybe they meet up sometime. That would have been much more interesting than just...
Yeah, it's sort of like a Cult of Skaro type situation.
Exactly, because that shit worked.
Yeah, that would have been more interesting. Yeah, and the Cult of Skaro was brilliant. I loved that.
Yeah. It was really good, but
Victory of the Daleks was a bit rubbish, and it sort of always stuff set in World War II and period stuff always rubs me up the wrong way a bit.
Yeah.
And this did as well, because it's like, Winston Churchill, he's bloody good, isn't he? He's bloody great as well. White supremacy, he's not that great.
KBO. Keep being awful.
Awful, like
the guts. Yeah, it works. See.
Perfect. Yeah, keep being awful, everyone.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think it's time to end the episode. Keep being awful, everyone.
I think it is. Closing statement?
Yes, I have a closing statement. Sorry, I'm playing with a clip. I've just clipped my thumb.
Oh, damn.
While I like this series in theory, it does not stand up to much thinking about. I enjoy Matt Smith's performance. I'm not sure if I enjoy any of the other performances, really. Some interesting concepts that feel wasted in this series, very annoyingly. Though I'm glad it happened, because I look back on these episodes fondly, because they were sort of, when I was 11, when did these come out? 2011? So I would have been, 2010, yeah. So I would have been 10, 11 years old watching these episodes. So I remember them very sort of fondly, really, in a funny way. So while I'm thankful these episodes exist, perhaps they could have done with a bit more of polish before they were filmed and sent out into the world. I'm not sure.
A little bit. But, yeah, I completely agree with you. I did enjoy these episodes, and all goes downhill from here. Geronimo.
Yep, I mean, Geronimo indeed. So have we got some shilling and other bits and bobs to be doing?
We do. We all have link trees. And Lewis's link tree is linktr.ee/Lewis_Brindley. Mine's is /ohirum. And the podcast is /shoutingintothevoid. There you will find our socials, our Facebook, our Instagram, our YouTube. Go give us a like, go give us a follow, go give us a subscribe. Leave a comment if you're feeling cheeky. And thank you. We also have a PayPal donate button, so anything you can spare, anything at all would be greatly appreciated. We also have Patreon, and we want to take the opportunity, as we do every week, to thank our wonderful, wonderful patrons. Chloe.
Thank you.
Darius.
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you.
Aditya.
Thank you.
Natalie.
Thank you.
And Dougie.
Thank you, one and all. You make the show possible, and you allow us to do what we do and talk absolute nonsense about Doctor Who for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever this is, after I've edited it all together. So thank you very, very much for your support. It really does mean the world. Thank you.
Absolutely. We also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble. We sell tote bags, jumpers, mugs, socks, stickers, all sorts of stuff. Go get yourself something nice, because you deserve it. You do.
Indeed you do. It's January. You deserve a present to dull those January blues away.
You do. You absolutely do.
It's true.
We're also partnered with an amazing company called Right Side Yarns, and we have an amazing advert for you to listen to.
Indeed.
No.
Oh, and we're back. That was good,
that
wasn't
was
Did you enjoy that?
I did enjoy that. I enjoy it every time I listen to it. It just gets better and better.
So do I.
You know?
It does. It improves with quality. It's like a fine cheese.
Yeah. It's like, that's what it's like. And last but not least, we are partnered with another amazing company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue. And Lewis is going to say some wonderful things about them, all of which are 100% true.
Indeed I am. Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a wonderful company run by my wonderful wife, in which they crochet and they do all sorts of bits and bobs and odds and ends in that world. And if you want to see what they're doing and keep up with the latest developments, then you can go to Number 12 Crochet Avenue on Instagram, give them a cheeky like, give them a cheeky follow, and check everything out over there. That would be great. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. But yeah, I think that's it. Yes.
I think you're right.
Just between us, what will I say for will we just not say anything and then?
Yeah, just don't say anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I think that's us, and
I think it is us. You're right.
Yes, we will see you, hear you, smell you. Unite with every villain out there and trap you in a box.
Put you in a box.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next time.
Next time, yes. So thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.